Aha, again an English podcast instead of a Dutch one. This time with Luc Vanheule. Luc leads the sales enablement team within Materialise. I met him at a We Are Sales event and I immediately from the spot, we had a very great connection. And that connection is now being on a podcast. Enjoy every lesson that Luc has learned with managing his teams and within sales. A very inspiring and passionate man, inspiring conversation.
Welcome to What's on Your Mind with Peter Snowart. Every week a guest talks about his or her story, and that story can inspire you to change your own. Here's Peter.
Now, Luc, I have seen that, well, first of all, I've met you, I think a couple of months ago, and you can say in the how do you say that, in the modern times that the word successful can be applied to you. When I've met you, and also I've talked with several people who have worked with you, I discovered some kind of, that you are a very humble and very connecting person. Where's the secret? Didn't you, or are you aware of that? Or are you aware of your ego? And that's something, because you're a very nice guy. At the same time, I think you can be very direct and going to the core. Where's the magic? Because sometimes I see people who have reached this kind of status, I would call it, that they are becoming their title, if you know what I mean. And that they think that the world is, everything they touch has become gold. But you don't seem to have that, or you at least you can good fake it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very good question, Peter. And in many things we do, very often we are not aware of that full secret sauce, because it's a combination of different behaviors, different experiences as well. But now that you ask me, I could think about a couple of elements. And I think the first element is about showing interest. Showing interest in the people. And especially in business, we still do business with people. And I've always had, in whatever function I was, trying to understand the drive of the people I'm working with, trying to understand the drive of the customers I'm working with, and really go further than just the surface. Very often in sales trainings they say, ask 5 times the why. And I think that has become a nature in my case, as really understanding what drives the people, and that helped me a lot in what I'm doing, especially also in the international environment, because very often I hear, but they are different. Yes, but it's very hard to do business in China. It's very hard to do business for example, in Japan. It isn't. But you need to take the time to understand what drives them. What is the culture of the people? Why are they doing what they are doing? And I think that really brought me to where I am today, is really understanding. And thanks for the compliment or the remarks. Other people say, you're a nice guy. I think it is not being nice. It is really showing that genius interest in people.
Yeah, it nice. It's also humbles, connecting. It's more than just being nice. Nice is a little. Yeah. It's the wrong term. It's more like humble and connecting. That's more the better description.
Yeah.
Now, yes, go on, Luc.
Well, and that, I think that is one element. A second element, I think, which makes it is, yes, I have a strong opinion. And what I learned also is bringing that opinion forward, and sometimes also in a conflicting way. We mainly did also the drive to understand, am I right? Yeah, does it, and I have encountered situations where other people brought me wisdom, and it is having a strong opinion, but still being also listen to other arguments. And very often, if you don't bring a strong opinion, you don't get also the other arguments from the other people. It is by provoking that you're getting better. And this is something I learned in the Netherlands. I have been working in the Netherlands, where I see a much more direct connection, so direct communication, and also much more direct feedback versus the more or Flemish way of the very polite way of bringing information to each other
and dancing around it and not
Indeed.
going to the core by really, it's also my style, by making things a little bit black and white and making a strong, sometimes over the top statement. You will get that, you will provoke, you will get people to give you feedback, and somewhere in the middle you will find a solution.
Indeed.
Now, you have been working at Siemens. Then now you're leading the sales within Materialise. What, according to you, because I see also on LinkedIn that you're an avid reader, what, according to you, is sales still the same as it was 20 years ago, or not? And of course, I know the digitization. Of course, that's the but I want to go a little bit deeper here. I mean, is there a difference? And second, we are from the same generation, so there were no mobile phones, or just beginning, and if there were mobile phones, they had a battery which lasted 1 week, and there was no social media, so we had to see each other, talk to each other, connect with each other. So we developed in some kind of way a skill to connect with each other. If I see younger people, I mean, I see that they are going to use more like the LinkedIn, WhatsApp, mail, more than maybe picking up the phone, and that maybe that they sometimes don't know how to really connect with people. It's a very black-white statement. So again, going back to the first question, what is typically fundamentally changed in sales for you?
Okay, maybe a small correction. I'm not in charge of sales. I'm in charge of sales enablement. But that doesn't. Let's say I'm very close to sales. What changed? I think fundamental sales hasn't changed. It is about understanding your customers. It is about bringing value by really listen to them. What situation they are in, and bringing insights for them to improve. That is so, and that hasn't changed in the last 20 years. It is about understanding those needs and finding solutions, even if they are not aware of that they have a problem. Then bringing them to the awareness of that problem. For me, that's also creating value in the conversations. So that is the type of conversations you need to bring. So in that respect, I don't think that there is a change in the last 20 years. Where there is change, it is in the speed of doing business. Where formerly we needed a couple of conversations to get to know each other, to understand what keeps people awake, to understand what are their dreams, what are their ambitions, what did they do before. And this is where today, in the world of having unlimited access to information, that there are ways to be better prepared for a conversation, to be better to come to the point much faster than before, and that is where digitization helps. Now, what I do see is that if you don't understand the core of sales and start to apply these new digital ways of interacting, you will not be successful. Because there you use first the tool versus understanding what should it serve for, what it really should bring, and that's why it's a famous saying. What I continue to repeat is try first to understand, to have a process, to have what do I want to do, what do I want to reach, and then see, hey, can I do that more efficient with the digital tools today?
Yeah.
Now, what I do see with, and I fully agree with that. In the time we started in sales, our generation, we had much more interactions, also face-to-face interactions. What I do see is that with the digitalization, a bunch of young people, and not everybody, because I see that some are really not going into the trap, but they use the excuse of the digital world. To hide between getting a no. It is so easy to send a mail and say, I didn't get a reaction from a customer. Probably it's a no. But if you're in front of somebody, if I'm trying to sell something to you, Peter, and you say, look, I'm not interested, well, it's okay. Getting used also that in sales, very often you get a no. And there I get the impression that a lot of the younger generation don't like to get a no. And then by sending mails or by using other techniques, when there is no reaction, they don't consider it as a no. And it feels much more comfortable, where if you call and you take the phone and the customer says, it's not a priority, I don't have time for it, or I don't want to do business at this moment. It's much harsher to receive that than having a mail which is laying there and after 3-4 weeks having no response.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Another topic, and I don't want to generalize, of course, because is that I see that the younger generation is, due to the fact there are sales outbound tools and all this, because in our time it was like a CRM if we're lucky, what email and for the rest LinkedIn was still a recruiting tool. Is that they, and I don't know if that has to do with the instant gratification that they were raised in, that they are looking for a silver bullet, overnight success in terms of how can I get as much leads as possible, and how can I close as SAP the deal. And they are looking personally, and they are very impatient. And I'm like, I understand your impatience. I used to be, and sometimes I am, a very impatient person, but I learned the hard way that grass doesn't grow faster by pulling on it. So it takes time to create trust, because that's the core of sales. And it takes time also for marketing to create leads. There's another discussion. And that's also something that I see. I'm like, I think you are too impatient, and you think there is some kind of magic trick by clicking on some digital tools, and then you will have a sale. And I know that certain vendors of those sales tools are also creating that kind of perception, that it's really easy and it's like click, 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 and the customer is going to buy. And that's also something that I noticed. I'm like, where did you get that silver bullet, overnight magic thing? Is that also something that you see, or do you see it across the border? Doesn't matter which generation it is.
For sure. I recognize what you're saying, and I think it is twofold. It is at the one hand a world where the new generations grew up with continuous feedback. Being it in video games or being it also in other interactions. When you fail, well, you get instant feedback. So they raised in an environment where they are not used to put a lot of effort and then maybe need to wait for a couple of weeks, months before seeing the result. what I also noticed is that and very often I need to pay attention as a parent as well, is that we tend to praise our children always as you're good, you're great. Um, and I do see and I have experienced that also with young team members, where somebody say, you're the first to say that I'm doing something wrong. And I say, yeah, well, it's a gift. It's because negative feedback is also a gift, because I believe you can improve, and that is something where I think, which is typically to the generation. Now that I said it's two, that's one element I see. A second element is it's part of the sales management culture. It is the way, as a sales manager, you drive your people. And very often I hear, and I'm lucky not to, let's say, in our European context it less, but I see in American context people only talking about numbers. Yeah, where is your number? How much leads have you created? How much number are you making? And these people don't understand that you cannot make a number unless you have a printer who prints money. But then I don't think you will be in business for a long time. And so people behave in the way they are, let's say, also they are managed. And for me, so that second part is also very often a behavior of a manager. And the combination, I can really reinforce that.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, it's true that American-based corporate cultures are really. That's also why I stepped out of it, because I mean, they're talking about what's the target, what's the gap to target, what's the and it's all about numbers, and it's your fault if there's a gap. And then they say there's a fault, there's a gap. Yeah, I know, but what? I mean, and then the person is alone, and of course, you will get that that pressure. Sometimes the pressure is too high, and then you will get that people are starting to cut corners, which I also did, by the way, in the past, which is part of the lesson that I learned. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Very interesting. If you would, you're a reader. I mean, you were talking about the book that you read in your holidays. I can't remember the name of the title of the book again, Luc.
Is it what are you referring to, the new way of thinking?
Yeah. That's the book.
Yeah.
You're so passionate about it. Why, Luc? I mean, it's like the new Bible for
Well,
you.
And that one is less about sales, but more about management. And I'm really passionate about it because there were a couple of elements where I said, the author brings in the book 14 or is questioning 14 frameworks. 14 ways of how typically companies take decisions. And in his book, he is challenging those. From with a very strong research background. So what he's not trying to convince you as a reader based on his on what he's thinking, but really also based on research, which I like very much. Because then there is, let's say, there is a good foundation for it, and there were a couple of elements in there which are also sales related. And one, for example, I mentioned also in my post is about competition or decisions to buy happens at the customer, and it doesn't happen in your headquarters. It means that you need to look as an organization, how do I equip my front sales force, my sales force who is in doing the conversations with the customers, on how can I equip them to have good conversations, to bring value, to listen. and capture that information from what happens in the market, rather than having, we know everything in HQ, and we just push it through to the sales.
And the fact that that message resonated so well with you, is it because you see a lot of companies who don't equip their salespeople with questions? What was the thing that strikes you?
Well,
most about it?
it triggered me because indeed very often, and I have worked in different organizations, although within limited companies, but I've seen very often that sales was there to mainly to execute, and very often also put a lot of burden on their shoulder to, can you provide this, can you provide this, so sales at service of the company. And I think it should be the other way around, where it is the company at the service of sales. That's very often also why I'm asking a sales manager, would your salesperson be willing to pay to get an hour of your time? And if the sales would be willing to pay for that hour, that means that they get value, that they learn from, and that with the time they are with you as a sales manager, they learn and they can do their job better. Where very often you see during that hour, or the one-to-ones salespeople get, it's pure reporting. Where are your number? Yeah, how is your pipeline progressing? And not about, hey, what can it make you to move that opportunity to the next day? What do you need? And it's small nuance, but it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, that thing that you just mentioned, that was the thing that I said, I'm never going to do that with the people I work with in our team. Because, I mean, it's very easy, and now I'm going to be also strong opinionated, is that I think it's very easy to study Excel and to go over a pipeline and to ask questions like, what's the next step, and when you are going to close that deal, and then then the deal slips, and again, why is the deal slipping, and things like. I think personally, I mean, and I had sometimes those managers, I'm like, I mean, I understand the question, but it would be great if you could think with me how can I deblock that? Of course you can ask that question instead of, okay, we are here, I see that deal is slipping quarter after quarter. Instead of being frustrated as a manager and projecting your frustration and irritation because you have to report that back, and your manager going to also be frustrated, I mean, is to turn it around and say, okay, what do we have here? Is it really a deal? How many people are you talking with? Do you want me to call his manager? Do you want me to call somebody else? Things like that. And I find that more interesting. I'm going to say it differently. I think that what you're trying to say is that instead of that the sales is focusing on me on the reporting, it's me who's going to focus on the sale, on the growth. How can I make them better each day? 1%, just 1%, and being the best version of themselves.
Spot on.
Sorry?
Yeah. Spot on, Peter.
And
you're spot on. That is,
And for me, the trick is that I manage them as that they would sit on my chair. So I say, look, you're going to sit on my chair, and yeah, it's the mix of the more psychology, the way they are feeling, mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's the thing that you started in the beginning. You are a connecting person. And I also believe, and I fully agree with that, is that everybody, what is driving you, that's for me the most important question. But if you don't know somebody and you ask what is your drive, I mean, it can be too direct. So I want to find out, what is that fire in you? And if I hear the word impact, then I know that's the thing I'm looking for. If they say money, I'm like, yeah, okay, bon, I understand that you want to earn lots of money, but for my personal, it's not going to be the best connector, and it's going to affect your decisions as a sales also. And if it's going to be long term, that's something. But the thing is that everybody has a certain context where they are working in, and creating that emotional safety, because I've been in sales, I'm doing sales, and I know how to create a very big pipeline and to window dress. And I'm like, I don't need that. I want you to be honest, and I'm not going to be mad if it's not there where, if it is what it is. So I want the honesty, because if I don't have that, I mean, I will always be in a situation where they're going to say fancy things, but it's not true, because they are afraid of telling me. And if they have that emotional safety, I can connect with them and help them grow. And at the end, they will come better, and I make the team more scalable. Otherwise, I'll have to do all the work by myself. And I think that's, for me personally, crucial. So for a leader, stop being an Excel manager and really putting your boots on, getting in the dirt, and thinking whatever is possible, what are the possible options to help that person further. What you are saying, to equip them, to think with them. Maybe a CEO or somebody else, or broaden. It can be whatever. And then I personally believe then people will open up, and then they will, sometimes they say, I don't know how to do it. And that's also fine. That's why you are there. You can expect, sometimes we expect of sales, I think personally, especially in those American cultures, that they are perfect, and that they have to do certain things, and that they will come back with the orders, and that they are perfect from day one. I really don't believe in that mentality. I don't understand it.
And Peter, and that is that you make a very strong point. There is what I do see, that very often people in an organization don't understand that. When they say, but now your team is equipped, you have a full FTE, but that doesn't mean that because your team is full equipped that they are all up to speed to really bring value in each conversation, and that's why for me what I do see is teams who succeed in high retention of their people are much more successful than with a high velocity in their team, because it takes time to onboard people. It takes time to bring that trust between you as a manager and the team member, but also bring that trust again in the conversations with the customer. So I've been thinking about working with, let's say, with maturity scores there, to say, hey, but you're saying my team is 10 FTEs. No, it is, yes, it's 10 FTEs, but the maturity score is maybe 6. So it's an equivalent of 6 good perform so and you only reach it after a couple of months, years, depending on the complexity of your business, and that it's very interesting topic, and I think a topic where a lot of sales leaders still struggle with. How do I really
Most sales leaders are focused on leads, how many leads there are, and pipeline management, and which is they have to do it. I mean, I don't. But the thing, personally, what I'm missing is that what I learned is that, and it's going to sound very crazy, but you see it everywhere in life, and I call it the rock band principle. If you're going to see a band, I mean, you don't go for the singer alone. I mean, you go for everything. You go for for every musician, and all those people are bringing together something, a total, which is more than the sum of the underlying parts. And for me, a sales team is also like that. Every individual has his own core strengths and his skills, his unique personality, and they bring something unique to the table. If you can call it colors, I'm not such a blue person. I'm not that great at Excel, and I have people who are great at that, and they excel at that,
Yeah.
and they love it. So intent that I say, I'm going to do it. They say, do you want me to do it? Yes, you can do it. And I let them shine. And for me is the magic of that people are going to work together, sharing their strengths, sharing their lessons, sharing their successes, their wins, their failures, and that they are mixing and also coaching each other of that knowledge, so that everybody is complementary with each other. Some people are better in writing tenders or answers for tenders. Some people are better at a more like, I suck at design, to be honest, for presentation. But I have people in our team who have done, I don't know how they do it, but they put on that magic dust, and then you have like, and I'm like, I bring the message, but they make it the performance also, which is also very important, of course. And I see that a lot of leaders, they are not focusing on that. And also second, and this is now going to even sound very strange, I really believe in that energy between people. And sometimes you have teams which are, you feel like, it's good, but it's not, the flow is not there. And it's like, what am I missing? And then it's going to sound very strange, by removing people, sometimes I don't want to call them the bad apples, because everybody's talent, but not everybody is a fit to that team.
Indeed, yeah.
And if you move that person, it's like, woof, you're flowing, you're redistributing a little bit accounts, and it's like, whoa, what is happening here? And I found that leader, and that's a little bit what you're saying about the number. They focus on the numbers, but for me personally, the numbers will come if you will have great personalities who thrive in their, and that they can feel emotionally safe, and that they can be the best personal version of themselves, in combination within that they feel that they are within a team.
Yeah.
And then you will get that high performance team and culture in a way that they are going to challenge themselves and grow, and at the same time don't stretch them that they are too far out of the zone of growth where they are in a burnout place, so that they will come, that it's you're stretching too hard and they are working too hard actually. What's your take on that, Luc?
Well, I'm more than 100% confirming what you're saying, and that is also what I do see, even for higher management leadership. It is a choice to put people first before stakeholders, but what you do see, and also what I read is that organizations who put people first, will automatically also put customers first before stakeholders. And especially if you're on the stock exchange, it's harsh really it takes courage to take such a decision and also really express that. But those who do are successful on the long run.
That's
it. Because they put people first, and people stay, and they are then also willing to they express also the willing to help customers first, and creating value, and the numbers will come automatically.
That's it.
Yeah. That is so. Yeah, I can only confirm more than 100% what you were saying, Peter.
Now, if we would go back in time, Luc, and we would have a beer in. You studied at Leuven?
Yeah. I studied partly in Kortrijk, partly in Leuven.
Yeah. Let's go to Leuven. I also I studied in Brussels, but I lived there, and we are going to the, what is called, the Oudemarkt, the Rotemarkt, whatever, the big place. I always confuse those two places, and
it's the Oudemarkt.
And we are having a drink, and suddenly Luc passes by, the 18-year young Luc passes by, and we say, "Hey, Luc, join us." So we were the three of us. And the 18-year young Luc says, "Hey, Luc, I mean, I want to be an aspiring professional. I mean, give me some lessons that you, if you could redo it again, that you would do differently. What would you give them? And it can be professional, but it can also be life lessons, Luc.
Well, if there is, I think one of the elements I would be let's say would do differently is dare to stretch a little bit harder, yeah, or search faster for limits of the capabilities than I did at that age. And probably the reason for that is education. Yeah, we grew up probably in about the same area, in that part of Flanders where they were saying, yeah, don't complain too much, yeah. Or just do, yeah. So be humble. Don't try too much. I still remember that in my sixth degree of high school, the responsible, how do you call it? I don't know the English word for that, but the responsible teacher at that moment say, yeah, Luc, never try university. Yeah, even at that moment, bachelor was he said, yo, you will never succeed. Yeah, so by default you were let's say put down in your ambitions, and if I would do one thing different is dare to try something where you might fail. And accept that you can fail, but it was not in our culture. We were not raised in that way, and that's something by traveling a lot. I've seen that one of the reasons why, one of the reasons why I like a part of the American life is, it's okay to fail. Try it. If you fail, try it again. And that is something which is still hard in Belgium. If I see young entrepreneurs now taking risks, I really say, yeah, do it, because if you fail, it's okay. Then try something different. But and I still remember my parents saying, yeah, are you really trying this? Isn't that too risky? And I think that would be something I really would take some more risks.
I fully agree with that, because I was raised in the same way, and still even to this day they are mentioning it, and they were like, Peter, we put you through 5 years of economy university. I mean, why don't you work at Belgacom at the time, or become a teacher? That's safe. You have your wages at the end of the month. And I'm like, and at the same time, this is one of the biggest. And I had the same thing with a teacher who also said that, Peter, we don't know. I don't know you're going to get bachelor, and then I had a university degree, so of a master's, and I'm like, why do people, like especially teachers, are limiting or even conditioning certain children by saying they cannot do it? I mean, I don't say that if they have no talent for it, just do it, but at least don't bring them down and let them try, instead of bringing them down. Which also, and this is also a very big topic for me in the beginning of my career, when I worked for a startup, and that CEO founder said to me, we're going to sell the company, okay? And he went to the US, and he talked with a software company, and or it was a hardware company, NetApp, and they said, no, we're not going to buy it. It's not invented here. It's Lernout and Housepi software. It's crap. Okay. And I'm like, you see, you're not able to sell it. And he's like, Peter, think big. And I'm like, yeah. And I had a bet with him, and he was like, Peter, we are just starting. And he sold the company literally, and the technology has become one of the key foundation principles in storage. And I was like, damn, I'm so limited by that way of thinking which I was brought up, and I know it has a certain context, post-war and things like that, and I don't blame anyone, but I fully agree by also that American culture, because they literally say you can do everything. I mean, I fully agree that we are I hold myself back. I think I was capable of doing more because I used to believe that because some people or teachers said you can only do this, that I couldn't do it, so I didn't even try it.
Yep.
And this is something, if we're going back to sales leadership, that I had a sales 2 years ago. I still remember that day. Great sales. And I said, we're going to change something. You're going to become key account manager. I don't care about titles, by the way, but it's about the content of the job. And I said, you're going to take one of our biggest customers and going to make it bigger. And he said to me, Peter, I don't know if I am capable of doing that. I said, yes, you can. And if you can't, then we're going to do something different. But try it. I mean, you will do fine. And now he's like embracing it. He's even leading some and coaching some. And he's like, I wasn't aware that I was capable. Yes, you are. But I will help you. And he's doing it. And that I found very important also in sales leadership, that you're going to stretch them in a way that they're going to grow. The only big thing is that I ask is that they are open for the coachability and adaptability. So and this is for me a very strong one. If you're stubborn and it's like, nah, and you're going to discuss a lot about that, I'm like, no. This is A, this is B, you are capable of doing it, and I want you to do the presses and whatever it takes I want you at least try it, and I want to see some effort. Yeah. I mean, and that's for me a very big thing then. So people who don't have that mindset or are not willing to go in that, for me, it stops there.
Yeah, and it circles back to what you said before. It is focusing on the strengths. Yeah, focusing what can you do. Yeah, yes, you can, and using those strengths. What I do see, and I have the experience in my career as well, leaders who focus on your weaknesses and who say, yes, you need to improve on that point. Is not your strength. Can we give you a course? Can we educate you on improving your weaknesses? And for me, I think it's a wrong strategy. Tap into the strengths of the people, and I have the same as you. I'm not a number cruncher, but I really I'm one of my colleagues is so strong in number crunching, and we form such a strong team because I'm thinking about a concept. And then I say, hey, what if we would turn that now into a model, and can we bring that into Excel, or can we bring that? And then she said, oh yeah, give it to me. Yeah? And that is what makes, again, I'm now conferring what you say, what it makes a team strong. It is focusing on the strengths and coaching people on their capabilities, rather than on their limitations. And I think it brings your people to results or to realizations they never thought they could do before.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. I mean, you will never able to make a bird swim like a fish. It's impossible. So I don't believe in take a course and no. I mean, you're good at that, embrace that, own that, and we're going to exploit that. We're going to even make it bigger, better, and things like that. And at the same time, there are certain skills like public speaking and things like asking questions and bringing some energy in the room, which I think are essential. And everybody needs to do that in their own unique, authentic way. I mean, I'm me. I bring things in a certain raw way, I'm going to say, and I own that. But it took me years to own that, and I will never be that smooth. You have people who are very smooth, and it's just not me. So I'm not trying to be like that or to change. So I fully agree by really embracing those strengths and not focusing on weaknesses, because that's by doing that, you're trying to make like similar people, the same people, equal people in your team. It doesn't work like that, and it's And I'm going to even go further than that. I had a discussion with a lawyer who has a lawyer firm and is also a musician. That's why we were talking. And he was talking about management. He was talking about leadership. And it's the same principle for a band. Imagine you have like, you're talking about the maturity score, and you have like a person who is doing, I don't know, in her way, 80% of the thing that you want him or her to do. And but he or she is getting the goal, and it's more, in your personal opinion, you're like, yeah, it's not the same like the way I do it, but he or she does it, and it's not. And it's the same with the band. He said, and I fully agree. I mean, if you have a band and they are performing like 80% of the perfection rate that you have in your heads, the efforts that you're going to do to bring those people to 90% by managing them to that, and it's going to take so much effort that you're going to try to change those people, that you're going to suck out the life and passion out of those persons, where they will do maybe 90% of your perfection level that you have in your head, and at the same time they will not go the extra mile because they have been sucked out of life by all the things you have tried to do. So I think that you should accept the way they are, and that they are doing it in their way, and that it's not the same as yours, as long as it's reaching the goals, of course.
Yeah, and if it fits together, if let's say the sounds which comes together fit again, and that is what you earlier said as well, is sometimes, yeah, it might be that yeah, somebody is not a fit into the composition, and then I think we need to be honest to each other and say, hey, sorry, I do think that on in other places you will bring more value than in this place. And that is very often again where I see the Flemish culture, yeah, limiting again by instead of going the harsh way, typically the Dutch people do is say, hey, Peter, on this aspect or this aspect, you're doing wrong. Yeah, so let's see how you can do better. Where we tend to turn around and say it in a very float way, or to accept. Yeah, there is no fit.
I say it's direct, and at the same time I say it like, I believe that your talents are not used in the right way, and are not going to how to say that, expressed in a way that nor for you nor for us it's going to be optimal.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think you have talent, but I think you should look into a sector which is the product more like this, or it's because sales. I mean, I don't believe that there is one salesperson who can sell everything in every sector, and deal size, small, high, volume. I don't believe in that. I think it's
You're right, Peter. I thought before that everybody could do everything, and this is something I learned, especially in the last 5 years, is that there is a need for specialization, because otherwise and it comes down again to drive. Yeah? Do you get a kick of getting every day or every week, yeah, a couple of orders, or is that driving you, or is driving the relationship on the long term and developing, forming a customer? Yeah? Is that giving you energy? Is that driving you?
That's correct. That's the thing that you need to need to find out. Interesting one, Luc. What are you have children, eh?
Yes, I do.
I mean, what do you? I assume that you're raising your children differently than you were raised yourself by your parents.
Yeah, I think we live in a different context, and yes, it is, and maybe I'll pick two elements from it, and one of them is really praising them when they use their strengths. Even when they were very small, neglecting when they were doing something different, wrong. I see too many parents. Still this weekend, I was on the table in a restaurant where I was seeing parents only shouting to their children when they were doing something wrong. Well, yeah, you give them attention when they do something wrong, so they will do even more wrong. So that is what we didn't do. Yeah, give them attention when they would do something good, and stimulate in even doing further the things they were doing good. That's one aspect. The second one is especially that I call it the art of the possibility. Yes, dare to jump. Dare to take. It's okay to try. If you show that you have the passion to do it, and you do the effort. It's not a free ticket. Yeah, both are going to university. The first one is already 30 years. The youngest is going now to university. And what we say is, yes, you can do it. Try it. And if you do it with passion, and if you show that you do effort,
Yeah.
then it's okay. Even if it's not a fit, then we will not blame you, as long as you show us that you do it with passion, and you take the effort. And I think that is that's based on the earlier lesson we talked about. I think it is giving them wings. But still give a safe harbor to when there's going something difficult being there.
Yeah, I'm now going to combine leadership and parenting. So hold on. I was talking to an ex-exec, Luc of Proximus. I'm not going to mention her name. And she said very vulnerable in a conversation. And she said to me, Peter, I'm 41. In the eyes of other people, I've reached a certain success. And to be honest, because you asked those very nasty questions, I don't know my talents, and I'm still searching for that. How, Luc, as a parent, how have you discovered the talents of your children?
Oh, Peter, that's a difficult one, you know.
Yeah. Look, what did
That
you
is
expect? Did you expect just talking about an hour about sales? I mean, you know me a little bit. You know it wasn't going to be an everyday conversation. You can handle that. You can handle a little challenge. So
I'm sure. Again, there I think it is about observing in what they are doing, and have let's say take time to have conversations. And so I think having good conversations and understanding what drives them typically leads you to what they are good at. Because what you're good at, you try to do more, and you also try to express that, and that comes then also faster into conversations than things you don't like.
Yeah,
but and I think that
yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I think that is the that's the way I think you need to do it. Now, is that an easy task? No. Am I the best in it? Probably also no. Very often I get the remark, you're a good listener at work, but are you a good listener at home? Yeah. So I don't say that I'm the champion in it. Yeah. So that's probably not of one of my strengths, and I'm honest about it. I could probably have done more there, but okay. Yeah. Nobody is perfect, so it's okay to not to be perfect.
Yeah. But if you then look to teams, I mean, isn't it so that if you talk about talent or skills, that we have this kind of perception that a talent is like playing guitar, public speaking, drawing. It's all these big things. Whereas I see a talent is something that you have where other people are going to say, hey, you're great at this. And you're like, and for you, it feels so natural that you don't even recognize it as a talent because it's so natural for you and it's so obvious for you that you even expect that everybody has that you don't consider it as a talent because, yeah, for you, it's easy. And that these talents are like, you're now a good listener, or compassionate listener. And these are also talents, but we tend to think it's like, playing guitar, singing, drawing, dancing, all these, playing basketball or football. Yeah, that's indeed a talent, but I think there are more, and you have to look a little deeper. And I think that's where we tend to, even being creative. I also see creative. I think most people are creative, but they don't believe it that they are creative. But I know developers who are more creative than certain people who draw things, but they're creative in their thing. I think also in sales you have creative people, not by creating designs for PowerPoints, but really in the way they structure deals and that they handle questions. This is also a talent.
But isn't it also because they are in that playing field of I don't say comfort, but where they are good at? And that is also the book of Jeroen de Vlaanderen talks about it on how do you develop yourself and when you have in a certain area a skill, you learn from let's say from education, you learn from reading, but at a certain moment you come to a state where there is no more reading or there's no more education but if it is within that passion and within that strength, you start to be creative and combining things from your experience, from what you hear, from and bringing again that to the next level. And that is I think I would encourage everybody doing that for those elements where you feel passion and don't end to think about how can I do things better or how can I improve myself again by taking the different elements and what can I do for the next time, and it doesn't need to be change the world. I'm a strong believer that if you improve every day the 1%, by end of the year you have really reached a significant improvement. But having that mindset of continuous improvement and what can I do better, even never be okay with the status quo.
And at the same time, I also believe that, I fully agree, at the same time I also believe that that you are not 100% aware of all your talents. I mean, and this is a podcast, I assume it's one of your first podcasts. I mean, this is also a skill, but I wasn't aware of that. I mean, okay, it's asking questions and you can use it in sales context and blah, blah, blah. But it's you have to, and this is something which you also mentioned, you have to get out of your comfort zone and try new things and go further than the things that you are used to and that you know, and really go very far to see if there's maybe also something lying there for you.
Yeah, indeed, and which is not always easy, Peter, because you know at a certain moment, you have a family to take care of, so we tend sometimes to go into or stay for a while in a comfort zone because we again to avoid some risks, and there is where it is finding that balance of
course.
Going out of your comfort zone while still managing your risks within the let's say the daily context.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can have the very extremes, of course, and it's of course, I fully understand. Luc, I want to thank you. I hope it was as good for you as it was for me. It was really such a joy to see such a passionate person speak up. And I want to thank you for the great conversations, the live lessons. I had the feeling that we even could go on for hours, but I want to respect your time. And I'm very grateful that we have met, and I wish you all the best. And see you soon when you're again in Belgium.
Well, Peter, thanks for inviting me. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And yes, if one of your strengths is having podcasts, you really do it great. So it was also a pleasure for me, and I'm happy that you organize these kind of things also to share that knowledge with the community, because that is how also here in Belgium and across the border we can advance the community of sales again to that next level. So thank you for inviting me.
Hey, it's Peter here. Thanks a lot for listening to What's on Your Mind. Looking forward to your opinions and comments. And don't forget to subscribe on psgrow.com and leave your email address to stay tuned for future episodes. Bye!